Okay, got a video for you. I have in my possession what might be the single greatest single dynamic plus 1BA set of earphones in the world. The Letshuoer X Gizaudio Galileo. This is a set that has, I believe, a magnesium alloy plus a Sonian balanced armature, so it's a 1.1. It is a collaboration with Timmy, who most people who watch my channel know of. He's a very nice guy. He lives in Japan as I do. I'm going to give an honest opinion here. There's going to be a slight tint because I know the guy and he's a good guy, but this is all about music, so I'll be specific with what I think is good. It's not all good, but it's actually really quite good. This is the box that it comes in. Looks nice. Let's move along from that. When you open the box, you get cards, like an owner's manual and quality control check. Then inside that, you've got it's basically a manual typical for the brand with in-ear monitor instructions manual. They don't really talk about Galileo on it, but that's okay. It's keeping with the theme. Inside there, inside the box, I mean, right here, you get a case that I've not seen with Letshuoer before. It's kind of a snap type. On the inside top, you've got 3 sets of, these look like narrow bore compared to what's in here, but I'm not really sure. There's not really a lot on the internet yet because this is something that's in the process of being released, so some of my info might be scattershot. My job's really to listen and to give opinions on how it sounds, but this is what it looks like. I don't have these 2 tips. I'm not sure why, but maybe they're inside here. There's a holder for, I believe, a cleaning tool, and mine is right here. Let me check and see if this is actually going to fit in there. Yeah, sometimes you do stuff and then you think, let's move along. It probably fits right there. And then you've got these tips which look to be, yeah, that looks wider bore to me. So basically the difference between these would be, if you think that narrow bore increases bass, the stock, these tips that are yellow or white on the top have the narrow bore and thus might increase the low end frequency. These tips that are coming in the plastic bag are tips that might open up the stage for you, so before you go tip rolling, they might have something included that will satisfy you. And if not, there's always your favorite, like SpinFit CP100s and stuff like that. So that's the case. I think it's pretty cool. There we go. We shut that down. Let's take a look at the earphones. They're quite beautiful. The cable that comes on them, which I'm running down to my ADI 2 DAC, looks very similar to the one that they have on the if you wonder why am I wearing gloves, it's a kind of a show of respect. These are beautiful. I want to wipe them repeatedly with this so that I keep getting that nice shine that you can see them, so that's why I'm doing it. Actually, it's kind of a respect thing. Cable's nice. It is kind of like the ones that come with the S12. It's a little bit thinner in its gauge, and it's non-switchable in its termination. It comes at 3.5, but I'm sure that you can select whatever you want, 4.4, 2.5. It's not a modular cable. It comes at 2-pin. It's got a beautiful shell, which is another good reason to be wearing these gloves, because I can just keep doing this and then looking at it. It's got nice swirls. Reminds me of a couple different sets that I've seen before. It's got a semi-translucent blue. It's got a screen on the end. I can see the dynamic driver. I can also see the balanced armature right here. Other people are going to take close-up pictures and zoom in and hold it up to a light so that you can see the internals. But in the hand, it's quite nice. In the ears, it fits good. I noticed recently that because of training, I have no idea why, left fit and right fit tips seemingly need to be a little bit different. So CP100s fit good for me with this set, but I'm slowly migrating to different tips with my left ear because there's a slight imbalance there. I'm not really sure. So that's what they look like. The shells look absolutely beautiful. They're made out of more of a plastic than a resin. Remember, this is a set that's going to be around $100 probably or lower. Let's say safely 115 down. I'm almost sure about that, but I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure. So it is, I believe, kind of a plastic as opposed to a resin, and it feels quite light. The cable feels like it's even for even a more premium set than this, but the presentation's quite nice. The cable is of good quality. The shells look made well. There's no scratches. There's no any something to point out and say, I wish that was like that. That's pretty good. So that's the unboxing, and what you get inside it. You get the case. You get 3 sets of narrow bore tips. You also get 3 sets of wide bore tips, and you also get a cleaning tool in a pretty cool case. You get a cable that's very similar to other sets, particularly people that got the S12. It seems to be slightly thinner in its gauge. It's easier to handle, to be honest with you, and it's a non-modular cable, but at the price point of roughly $100, you know, maybe next year that'll be happening, or it's starting to, but not right now. So I'm going to sit down. Actually, before I do that, let's go ahead and take a look at the frequency graph. I'll do this twice, but let's do this for the first time right now. 2 points to make. One, I think it looks really nice. It's got a sub bass with a very nice glide that is a little less than, but pretty much follows along with my own target, which is based on the Elysian X. And then it gets into the mids at about 300 hertz solidly. And then it takes its gain rise a little bit early at 800 hertz, and then it's got a very slow, gradual rise. It peaks about where my target is, and it drops about where my target is, and then it's got that little notch at 8 kilohertz, which is related to the measuring. And then it's got a fall off, and we'll talk about that when we do the review. It's not very dissimilar to a couple sets, including one that I did called the Melee. And so a lot of people said, well, that set doesn't have a lot of air. That set sold between 18 and 25K, to the surprise of many and not to others who like my library. It fit a niche, and it did quite well. What is in that area beyond, let's say, 10 kilohertz is not a lot. It will impact sense of air. If you're a sparkle chaser, this probably wouldn't be the set for you. I think that is greatly overstated. I also think that a slight roll in sub bass, like the Toothier Zero, brought out the fact that really isn't an issue, and a lot of production level events are actually cutting out stuff that's below 20 hertz, like a car audio amp has a subsonic filter so that you don't, there's too much noise and it distracts and inhibits the quality of the driver. So the tuning looks good. It's going to show itself in a couple ways when we get to what be the one point that some people on Twitter and other things are saying, oh, that's a no-go for me. Or, well, hold on a second. If you're watching this video, you probably know the library I'm going to talk about, so let's go ahead and switch and talk about some music. Okay, let's talk about music, starting in the sub bass, stuff like Pack Like Sardines in a Question Box by Radiohead, Tupac Violent from the Tupacalypse Now LP, Kill Jill by Big Boy, Massive Attack Angel. The tuning of the sub bass is good enough to give the proper amount of energy for mixes and tracks that are done where that's supposed to be a prominent fixture. Constant low droning in Massive Attack's Angel. The same could be said for Tupacalypse Now Violent. Tracks like that where lacking in sub bass might take away completely the character of the song that you're expecting to be replayed. This set does that well. As we move into bass guitar, very important to me, using tracks like Sultans of Swing, Black Sabbath Sweet Leaf, Violent Femmes, Please Do Not Go. This is a very important track right here. And when you get this set down the road, a good comparison would be the Hexa. Hexa was not a set that I was a personal fan of, but I was very smart with how I portrayed it. I knew that it was aimed at B2 fans by its tuning, and directed them towards it with my thumbnail and with the content of my video, because I'm not here to step on stuff. I'm here to know the audience and try to direct it there, and if I don't know the audience, then I just don't do the video. This is a set that has more note weight than the Hexa, even though the frequency graph might not indicate that. I'm not looking at a graph of the two, but I think they're pretty close. To the ear, it's not really close. There's more note weight and snaps and pulls on the releases of the bass guitar of Sultans of Swing than there is on a set like the Hexa. So if you have a set like that and you think, that's just a little bit too light for me, this would be a set that, despite the graph maybe being similar in that area, this definitely has more weight with this track and with bass guitars in general. So if you have a library like mine, this would be a set that would be more appropriate than the Hexa, which may be more appropriate for K-pop, J-pop, or genres like that that are focused on electronics and female vocals and stuff like that. It's all about library. Libraries and music are the context for all of this. So this does bass guitars quite well. As we get into drums, Limelight, Jump On 'Em from the 4th album of Led Zeppelin, where he's doing the kick drum, it sounds accurate. It sounds like overproduced kick drum with this echo effect and a kind of slight panning. I can catch all of that. It's not a bass headset. It's not extremely potent in that area, but it does give an accurate replay to obviously audibly produced kick drum, not just your average kick drum. They put a lot of production that comes through with the Galileo. That's what I want to hear when I listen to that track. I got it back. So the bass guitar, Sultans of Swing, sounded how I wanted it to. The kick drum on the 4th album sound how I wanted it to. There's no problems there. As we get to the vocals, we get to not a problem, but a ding. And everything has a thing and a ding. So everything has a thing and a ding. I'm just a genius here. I can't say the word, or the YouTube will dang me. I'm not sure why I stepped right here. There's a track called Take a Bow by Madonna, and it's very much produced. And there's some echo and panning effects that are going on and kind of stuff. If you're really focused on that, upper treble type stuff, you're going to notice this and its tuning. You're going to have to be listening for it, because stuff like cymbal strikes and pianos and a lot of vocals, you're not going to catch it. It's not a meme extension, but it's used a lot, and people ding sets because a graph says that it lacks it. For my library, I used to be infuriated when people said, "Oh, the Melee, and he likes rock, it doesn't do cymbals." Yes, it does, and I got a lot of people that watch this channel, and they're producers, they're bassists, they play guitar, they're lead vocalists. The cymbals were fine on the Melee. That type of tuning, there's no problem with that. The produced vocals that have a lot of that stuff that gives you the air and the panning and that sense of space, that might be a point where you find this set to be not ideal. In all of my evaluation and listening tracks, that and a Boston track called Foreplay, It's Been Such a Long Time, which has a lot of also production panning, a lot of like aerial effects that are kind of swishing around you. Aside from those two tracks, I never thought this is dark, or that's kind of lacking, or this sounds suppressed. When I listen to strings from Vivaldi, or I listen to Verdi or Tchaikovsky, I never really get a sense that there's something lacking or muted. I think that strings actually sound quite good on this set, to be honest with you. I think it does the string section nice. If you listen to full orchestras, there are other instruments that exist with more energy in their second, third, fourth, fifth order overtones up in the treble. You might notice something, but I don't. I focus on a lot of strings, some waltzes with Tchaikovsky. I never really felt like it was lacking. Let's get to the elephant in the room while we talk about this. The budget sector has become ultra competitive. The biggest challenge for the Galileo is not going to be the tuning, because I can't sit here honestly and tell you that there's a problem, because it really isn't. I got to look and dig and be OCD. It's fine. There's other stuff that's really coming out well, like the Ola from Truth Ears and other sets that are offering just really excellent quality for a very affordable price. If you have a budget that's tight, like a lot of people that watch my channel, and $20 is a lot of money for you, I would say to you that you should stay where you are, because money is tight and you don't need to spend $100 to get high quality performance. So for you, I would say stay where you are and enjoy the awesomeness that this hobby has brought you in the past 12 months. For everybody else that likes to go through this hobby and try different stuff, this is a competitive set in its price range if it's around $100. It's nice to support a nice guy that helps other people in the community. And to be straight up with you, it plays back my library very well. I have to nitpick and find something with it, and it's the Madonna track and a track from the 70s from a group called Boston you might have never heard of. And you might not listen to Madonna, so you never note that point either. I recommend it. I think it sounds really good. I think Letshuoer did a good job with the meshing of the dynamic driver and the balanced armature. Sonian, very good choice. I don't hear any metallic BA in this at all. Good job. Does my library well. Gets the recommendation. There's bias in everything all the time. Calculate that yourself. Oh. I'm giving this Galileo away because I'm going to buy a set so that Timmy can get some of my cash. Fair play. Comment below this video. Like and subscribe. And the comment will qualify to be put in a draw. And this will be packed up nicely and sent out to you. I might keep this one, and the brand new one I buy I'll send to the winner. But comment below, subscribe like typical, and get yourself a Galileo. Good stuff. It's going to be hype. A lot of people are going to have it, so why don't you get yours? And if you're one of the people that $20 is a lot of money, definitely try to get it, because you could get this for nothing. So there's that. And I'm out. Congrats to Timmy, and good job, Linsel. Nice work. And I'm out.